Okay, welcome back. Or welcome, because you never left in the first place. Off Topic with Tim and Matt. Our groundbreaking sports podcast where we always go. Off Topic. All right, NFL, NHL, pardon me, hockey.
NHL, hockey.
So first two games, it's going to be a 7-gamer.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's going to go. It's going to go the distance.
It'll go the distance. I'm going the distance. And I bet you game 7 goes to like quintuple overtime.
Well, we're increasing as we go. Game 1, single overtime.
Game 2.
Double.
So it'll be 17th overtime. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, before overtimes in the next game. Yeah, you double it each time, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know, and it was a good game, too. The first game, the Oilers won in overtime, 4-3. The next game was not so lucky for the Oilers.
Well, they tied it. They played pretty hard. The Oilers' Achilles heel is the second period. They have crappy second periods, and they come back hard in the third period, and then sometimes overtime. Brad Marchand, the Rat. My team, the Montreal Canadiens, never had a problem containing him. Just saying. But anyway, he was the hero with a shorthanded and an overtime winner.
Yes.
And,
he gave him the 4-3 lead.
Yeah.
And it's the battle of the 40-year-olds going on here right now because
Corey Perry.
They get into halfway through the second, 3-3 tie, and Marchand comes out and puts him up, 4-3.
Right.
Right? In the third period, only one goal at 19:42. Yeah. So right near the end,
17 seconds.
Yeah. Corey Perry ties it up and sends it to overtime. Where there in the second overtime, Marchand is the one who puts it away.
It's going 7 games. I called Oilers in 7. Clearly, the Oilers learned from their loss last year, and they're just bringing it right out of the starting gate. And clearly, the Panthers know what to do and aren't taking their foot off the gas. So this is just a great series. And you got McDavid, McJesus, who Edmonton is just loving.
Yeah.
Drysaddle, that top line. They're doing it without Zach Hyman, who dislocated his wrist.
Yep. Yeah.
And like you said, Corey Perry, the dinosaur who can't keep himself out of trouble off the ice, is just a gold in the playoffs on the ice. And the guys, his playoff runs in the past 5 years are going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No one was talking about Corey Perry in a Hall of Fame career until he went to Montreal. Was crazy in Montreal, lost, unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah.
And now this year with the Edmonton, he's just lighting it up again.
Anytime he's in the playoffs, he shows up.
Oh, my God.
And he's got that pest game to him, too, right?
He's complete.
He's a pest. He gets under your skin and whatnot. But in the playoffs, he can really amp that up and change the outcome of a game from it. Now, the big topic of conversation is Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett is the villain of the NHL right now.
The guy you hate until he's on your team.
Exactly. And there was a point in the game where he was back in front of Stuart Skinner, the goaltender for the Oilers, and Ekholm was kind of pushing him back. So he allowed himself to go back
landed on the goalie.
Landed on the goalie.
Very close.
It looked really bad. Skinner stayed down. They gave him a 2-minute interference penalty, which is really weird because the Panthers handled the puck after the hit.
Yeah.
And then
it was a delayed call. It was weird.
Nobody had their hand up or anything. And the Panthers touched the puck. And then they realized Skinner wasn't getting up. So they called it dead because he was hurt.
Right.
They stopped play and then gave the penalty. It was weird. Maybe we should, he got hurt. Maybe we should do something. I watched the replay. And we've got it right here. I don't know if Wayne can
A lot of it is get him off the ice for 2 minutes and we can calm things down.
Yeah.
Right?
So, if you're watching here, you see that Ekholm's kind of pushing him backwards.
But barely.
And then falls on him himself.
Yeah.
So here he's just kind of barely pushing him.
Ooh, I can't watch it.
Yeah, and he just kind of gets folded. But Skinner stayed in the game.
Yeah.
So here you push him backwards, and he kind of hooks the foot there, and they both kind of go down. He goes down weird on the leg. I don't really think that's a goaltender interference call. I think that's more along the lines that it's incidental contact. There should be no penalty on that play. But you're right. Get him off the ice. Calm things down. but then Kachuk goes over there and gives him the goal tap on the shoulder,
Yeah.
right? So now they're all like, they're trying to hurt the goaltender. The captain was congratulating him on taking out the goaltender.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They're playing. They're
gonna-
up. They're just jacked up.
They're
right?
going to go play hard.
Yeah.
No one's coming in to hurt anybody intentionally. You know, it's a good way to lose your head out there, is,
Yeah.
you know, to be intentional. But when you play on the edge like a Sam Bennett or Brad Marchand
Right.
or Matthew Tkachuk, you're out there, you're going to push the limits.
Oh, of course,
Right.
You want to win.
Exactly.
You're hungry. You want to win. My point on Facebook after that play, Dave Semenko never would have let that go.
No, 100%.
Never would have let that go.
And
Like that
that's where the problem is, in my opinion.
for Edmonton.
For Edmonton.
Okay.
Is that if you want to stop that sort of stuff, you gotta answer the bell. And nobody went after Bennett.
Yeah. They don't have that guy.
They don't have that guy.
Yeah.
You think Vander Kane might be that guy, but he's not. He's kind of like the Sam Bennett on the Oilers team.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's in front of the goaltender causing mischief.
Right.
You know.
Not quite as dirty. I was never a big Evander Kane fan.
Yeah.
Because he played for a lot of years like a bit of a pretty boy.
Yes.
He was all style, and the strike happened, and he's got pictures of himself doing push-ups in Vegas with stacks of money on his shoulders with his shirt off, just like stupid stuff, and then ops for off-season shoulder surgery that he didn't need, and going to free agency, like just dumb stuff. But I got to admit, he's playing really hard for Edmonton right now. He's kind of grown up, and he's thrown some really good hits.
Really good hits.
So he's come around. He's kind of grown up, right? But yeah, you need some grit.
As a Kings fan, and having to face the Oilers the last 4 years in a row, I can call out a ton of Oilers.
Here it comes
on dirty stuff that I call dirty.
You're the victim.
When you want to be when your team's the one getting hit, you can scream it's dirty.
Yeah.
When your team's doing the hits,
it's
fine. It's
hockey.
Just hitting. It's hockey, right? I don't ever, you're good. I play the victim. No, I don't ever do that because I don't call them out on it, and I don't say that it's just hockey when my team makes a shitty hit, right?
Yeah.
I was the first one to call out Bertuzzi when he just about killed Steve Moore.
Oh, geez.
But every other Canuck fan is, well, the other players jumped on him. That must have been what broke his neck.
It's not.
No, it was the punch to the head and the bulldog into the ice.
Yeah, that was.
So like you got to be honest with it.
Right.
That wasn't a goaltender interference.
It wasn't.
That was incidental contact, and anybody who's cheered for the Oilers saying that he should be banned from hockey for that. It's
Skinner
just
wasn't
get over
hurt.
it.
Skinner wasn't hurt.
No, he was fine.
But it's part of, everyone's really excited, right? Everyone's really pumped, especially in Edmonton. Florida, I'm sure there's Florida hockey fans, or probably, Canadians wondering whether they're going to end up in Arizona before they get sent back home. But, in Edmonton, they want that cup real bad, the fans, and they're so pumped up, and everyone's just a little too excited.
Yeah.
Things get amplified. But it wasn't a dirty hit. The refs made the right call. Stick him in the penalty box. Calm him. Everybody calm down. No, don't worry. He's in the box.
Yeah.
Kachuk just likes to antagonize, and
Well, because it wasn't a penalty.
No.
He comes over and he goes, you did nothing wrong, pal.
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong. I think in that scenario, throw Ekholm in the penalty box too.
Sure.
Because Ekholm pushed him into the goaltender.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I think giving that penalty was an appeasement call.
Yes.
And I don't think it was the right call.
So, but it didn't cost them the game.
No, they won. So
so it's not like
joke's on you, Oilers.
But the next game's coming up in a few days.
Tomorrow,
Monday.
the 9th.
The 9th, and they'll go to overtime for sure. I guarantee it.
Quadruple overtime.
Quadruple overtime.
So the other thing we got to throw in here, because hockey's slow right now, so we want to throw
There's only one series on. We got the draft coming up on the 27th, 28th, I think.
Yes.
And
it's coming up quick.
Montreal's, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to trade or take another forward. I don't know. But you go ahead.
It's our Whitecaps.
Yes.
Went to Mexico.
Ooh.
Played in the CONCACAF. Got their butts kicked. They had to take 2 different planes home. And one plane, everybody on the plane got sick.
Really?
Now,
why did they take 2 planes?
I'm not sure why they had to take 2 planes.
Like half the team on one plane, half the team on the other?
They had to take 2 flights. Not sure why. 75 people went.
Okay.
Right? So maybe it's just seating.
Yeah, okay.
Right? You know, I'm not sure why.
I don't think the Whitecaps can charter their own jet, so they're flying commercial.
Last year when they played in Mexico, and they did charter their own jet, and all 75 people went on the plane, they got food poisoning.
Really?
Yes. So now the coach, Marsh, is irate after it, and he says that they're getting poisoned.
Ooh. Well, you got to be careful in Mexico.
Yeah, the CONCACAF Champions Cup final, where they lost, half of the 75 people who returned to Vancouver on the team's charter plane after Sunday game had reported symptoms of gastro illness. Last year, the Columbus crew, Mexico's CF Pachuca in last year's Champions Cup final, they all got sick.
Now, if you ever go to Mexico, I've been once in my life, if you buy a beer, you wipe the lid, the where you put your what is, help me?
The hole.
The hole. You wipe it. Anything, like beer can, pop can, bottled water, you wipe it down because the bacteria will make you pretty sick.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe they forgot to do it, but 75, half the people forgetting to do it, it's Mexico. Like you're going to get sick. Like it's just the way it is.
But it's not just that it's Mexico. I mean, when you're talking about that there, you do that anywhere, right?
In resorts?
Anywhere. Anywhere you go, you get a can. Before you drink out of the can, you wipe down the top.
Really?
Oh.
Like where? In the States?
Everywhere. Canada, the States, your house. Those cans sit in a storage facility.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right? With all kinds of bacteria, rats, mice running over top of it.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm never drinking pop again.
Well, I don't drink out of cans for a reason, right? Like I watched a documentary on this, and it was saying that was the number one leading cause of disease is because you're going to have mice in warehouses. You're always going to have mice in warehouses, and you got to wipe down. And if you're going to take that and put it against your face without wiping it first, there is something wrong with you.
Ooh, I never even thought about that. Yeah. I know the McDonald's touchscreans test really high for E. coli because people go to the washroom and they don't wash their hands. That is vile. I'll never touch one of those things.
Yeah.
I just go, I go to McDonald's twice a year. Yeah. And I'll get, super, super hot. I'll treat myself to a milkshake. Or every once in a while, I get a coffee and one of the Egg McMuffins because the grease just like once a year, it's like a treat to myself. It hits my bloodstream. It's like that warm blanket effect. And the coffee's pretty good and it's cheap, right?
Yeah.
But I don't go to McDonald's very much. I don't touch those screens. And now I'm going to wipe down every can that comes in my house.
You should. Good.
Well, we buy pop cans and it's in the cardboard box that's sealed. So I think they're okay. You're thinking of the flats.
Yeah, the flat.
Wrapped in plastic of the cardboard bottom, and they're stacked on top of each other.
I don't drink out of cans. I get a cup, and I pour it into a cup because I do not want that touching my face.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff we get, it's a cardboard box that you have to rip the top open.
Yeah.
But I don't think the mice can get in there and pee on there and,
Because that cardboard's a good deterrent if something shits.
Well, but I mean, if you buy it and there's a big hole in the thing, you're going to know something's gone in there.
Yeah.
But if it's still sealed...
Pour water on that cardboard, see if it ends up on the top of the can.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, but it would be stained, though. There'd be a big pee stain on the cardboard. It's intact. I agree with your saying, but I mean, I'm just saying...
I'm not a germaphobe. I'm not a germaphobe.
But talk about getting off topic. We were talking about soccer a minute ago.
But you're talking, but you were saying the can, wiping the can, like when you're in Mexico.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Yeah. But I'm saying you just should do that everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Let's stop arguing.
You talk about those touch screens.
Yeah.
Right. I got Sandy in the car.
Oh yeah. I go to the bank and I go through the drive-through the bank, and before I get my thing back, I take it, put it in my wallet, and then
yeah, exactly. You want it's just good hygiene, and I think COVID really brought that out in people because
I'm a germaphobe. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not a germaphobe.
I will not go to a communal chip bowl ever again. I'll get my own bowl, pour a little bit in there, and that's mine, and everyone else can pass the bag around or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not a germaphobe, but really some of the stuff that they start talking about just made sense always.
Yeah.
To do something like that, right? So, and it does. It does. Clean those top of the cans.
Okay. And the Whitecaps are
they're playing today. Or it's June 8th, yeah. They're playing today, so half their team can't play, right? three of their better players.
You know, if your team's going down there, you've got to be careful of what they're eating, where they're touching. There should be, you know, I'm having a little trouble with the Mexican players that threatened by the Whitecaps. They have to poison them in order to win.
Yeah.
That sounds a little far-fetched to me. I think just going down there to Mexico, it's, you know, there's a lot of bacteria and you just have to be super careful.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not being super careful. Bring, you know, Stanley wipes and wipe down all the surfaces of your hotel room. Yeah. And that should keep it. But I mean, if you don't do that, you're on your own.
Well, and I think, you know, and like I said, when the touchscreens when you're in a hotel in a foreign country.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes sense to use good personal hygiene.
Yes.
Maybe these guys did it, but being half the team, I mean, that's just crazy.
That's crazy.
So, but the
coming home. Yeah.
Coming home, yeah.
So they already played, then they got sick.
They lost 5-0.
Yeah.
So then they got sick. So the coach is saying they're being poisoned.
That sounds far-fetched.
that sounds far-fetched.
I just don't think teams in South and Central America need to poison Canadians to win football games. Like it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, if it was hockey, we're going down to play hockey against them, we're winning 18-0. And now I'm sick of this. Let's kill somebody. Sure. But for soccer, like they can't be threatened by a Canadian soccer team. Like they're good, but they're not that good. Okay, anything else you want to talk about? NHL?
I think the NHL is pretty quiet right now. Finishing up the Stanley Cup, and that's it. Draft's coming. Free agent frenzy on the July 1st. So we'll look at stuff then. But right now, no, got nothing.
World Cup 2026 is coming to Canada, U.S., and Mexico.
Yes.
And they've run into a problem because Trump has banned people from Muslim countries entering the U.S.
Yes.
And that includes soccer players. And now FIFA is going crazy trying to appeal to Trump to get him to lift the ban so all the teams can play.
Yeah, that was the latest.
I'm not saying anything. I'm staying out of politics. That's just what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for Off Topic with Tim and Matt. I want you to like, subscribe, and comment. June 27th, Muay Thai Gladiators 8 at Eventbrite, eventbrite.ca. My son is fighting Muay Thai kickboxing. It's amazing in Langley. Go, subscribe, get a ticket, come check it out. You'll love it. That's it for us. Thanks for tuning in. Off Topic with Tim and Matt, where we always go off topic.